As a leader, it is vital that we are courageous. In fact, I would say to you that one of the marks of a leader, one of the ways that we, meaning others, recognize a leader is by virtue of the fact that that person is courageous. That that person is doing things that you might look at and go, holy crap, can't believe she is doing that. Oh, that's courageous. So courage seems to me to be a very vital part of leadership. But the question is, how do you measure courage? This is the question that I think is a really important one that I want to put forward to you. How do you measure courage? So, I'm in the gym, and I'm 58 years old. I've been training for just about 40 years, lifting weights. The weights I lifted in my insane 30s, which is when I was really crazy into heavy bodybuilding. The weights I lifted then were very heavy, certainly compared to what I lift today. Now let's imagine for a moment that somebody walked into the gym, some guy walks into the gym who has not ever lifted a weight, or maybe has never lifted a weight in his adult life. You know, so maybe he did some weights or did some training when he was at high school, but hasn't done anything since then. Okay, that guy walks into the gym, looks over at me, sees this silver-haired guy, and thinks, well, I'm about the same age as that guy, and he's lifting this amount of weight, so surely I can lift that amount of weight. And of course, then that person picks up, you know, whatever it is. Let's just make up a number. Let's say he picks up the barbell to sit down. He lays down to do the bench press with 225 pounds on it. Okay? Is he likely to be able to lift that? The answer is no. He's not. In fact, he's likely to bloody kill himself in the process rather than actually helping himself. So he's likely going to get injured by lifting that 200 or 225 pounds or whatever it is that I might lift quite easy. Oh, just realized I look like Yoda. That I might lift quite easy. Certainly, you know, this is going to be a crazy amount of weight for somebody who's never lifted before to lift, right? You can see that, you can understand that. So, if you can understand that what is heavy for him might be quite easy for me. Why? Because I've done it not 10,000, probably 100,000 times. So it's the same with courage. When you think about when you look at someone you go, wow, that's courageous. I think it's important for you to measure courage against what is normal or easy or usual for that person. So, generally speaking, it is not particularly courageous to do something you've always done. It's kind of easy. It's kind of easy because you've always done it. So there are many things in my life that people look at and go, wow, he's really courageous because I maybe say something that other people wouldn't say, or I do things that maybe other people are a little afraid of doing, and I do those things and I say those things. But does that actually make me courageous? And the answer is no, it doesn't. It may look courageous to you because you're comparing yourself to me. But what you actually have to do is compare yourself to you. What is courageous for you? So courage is incredibly subjective. Courage is subjective. You have to look at what scares you and be willing to do that. It's only when you do what scares you that you actually get to know what courage actually is. So courage is not the absence of fear, as you well know. Courage is doing what you fear even though you fear it. So the simple impact of this particular sweaty leadership tip is this, is do not measure your courage by somebody else's, and do not measure theirs by you. If you are leading others and you go, well, that's really easy, be careful of that comment, because what you're seeing as easy may actually be based on what's easy for you. Be careful how you judge them being courageous, because it may be courageous for you, but it may be easy for them. And it's exactly the same for yourself. What scares you is what brings your courage out. If you're not scared of it, then it's not really courageous, even if it looks courageous to others. And this is the false sense of courage. This is the false sense of courage altogether. So it's very easy for me to feel good about myself when you applaud me for my courage. But if it didn't take any courage for me to do it, then it's not really courageous. So courage is when you find out what it is that scares you and you do it anyway. So I promise you there are things I'm doing every day that you might think are incredibly courageous, but in fact they're not very courageous for me. But it's easy for me to pat my ego. It's easy for me to tell myself, I'm doing great, I'm really doing well, because look, other people can't do this, or other people aren't doing this, or other people are too scared to do this. Yeah, but I'm not other people. You're not other people. You're you. So be careful not to judge yourself against other people, against their courage. You actually have to measure your own courage. Think about what actually scares the crap out of you. What is it that actually scares you? And then challenge yourself to do that. Challenge yourself to do the thing that actually scares you. So, very quick one. Dov Baron, Full Monty Leadership. And I'm going to challenge you to get curious about what you do that looks courageous, but doesn't really take much for you. And to also get courageous and get curious about what actually scares you, and to challenge yourself to do it. So I'll tell you mine, okay? Here's my real act of courage. To look at your act of courage, you have to look at what scares you, as I said. So what is it you fear? What is it that you fear? Think about it. Is it doing a certain thing? Maybe standing on a stage? Maybe doing a sales call, cold sales call? Maybe it's asking for money. Maybe it's a physical act. Maybe you're scared of heights. Maybe you're scared of confined spaces. Take a look at what you're scared of. So for me, when I really dig in deep and I look into the depth of my own vulnerability, I'm afraid of rejection, which makes it incredibly difficult for me to ask, because I'm afraid of rejection. And that's something that goes back to my childhood. Now, do I do it? Yeah, I do. Do I do it as much as I should? Absolutely not. But every time I do it, that's an act of courage. Now you, on the other hand, may be fabulous at that, and you go, come on, you chicken shit, get on with it. But because it's not courageous for you. It's not courageous for you, it's easy for you. Don't judge other people by what's easy for you. Just because it's easy for you doesn't mean it's easy for other people. Give people credit for the courage they take to do what it takes. Don't judge yourself by other people's courage. Be very, very clear that you have to take a look at what scares you, and you assess yourself on that and that alone. Maybe it's courageous for you to say thank you. Maybe it's courageous for you to say I love you. Maybe it's courageous for you to actually share what scares the crap out of you. If that's something that scares you, put it in here. Be brave. Let's have a look at what somebody was saying. Joey just said, no one knows how courageous they can be until they're forced into a situation where they have to face and overcome. We are all capable of digging deep when we have to. Absolutely, we are all capable of digging deep when we have to. There's no doubt about that. But what about when you don't have to? See, that's when it's real courage. What about when there's nobody bending your arm? There's nobody with a gun to your head. You're the one who's deciding to be courageous. Gloria says, thank you, because this is where I am right now. This test means I have to be courageous, and it scares me. I will do it. Good for you, girl. Robert Kennedy. Hello, sir. Good to have you on. He says, great insight. What scares you is what brings the courage out, if you let it. Absolutely, if you let it. You've got to be willing to let it out. So my challenge to you again is to get curious about what scares you and be willing to share it. It's one of the things that I've found that has helped me is to actually let it out. When the fear stays in my head, it grows. I always say that the mind is a recycling machine. It just recycles fear over and over again. So instead of that, let's move away from this truck. Instead of letting your fear recycle inside of your head, get it out. Find somebody to share it with, even if it's right here, right now, as a comment. Because once it's out, I promise you, it's not got the same strength as it had when it was inside your head. Because your ego mind can justify just about any old crap, including what it is that you're fearful of. So, get it out. Find somebody that you trust to share what it is you're afraid of, to share what it is that scares you. Somebody who can support you. Somebody who can have you actually see the courage that you actually have. Because what if the places you have courage, you have been courageous? See, most of the things that you're courageous about now, presently, that are actually easy, were at one time things that scared you. They were actually things that scared you before. So you could, if you take a look at the things that scared you before, that you did, you know, there was a time when you were scared of walking, and you did it, but you fell on your ass, right? And maybe you fell on your ass, I don't know, when you were learning to walk 10,000 frickin' times. But now you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. How many of you are still wearing diapers and walking around? I mean, not because of an accident, but crawling around on your hands and knees because you're afraid of falling down. None of you. You got up, you went and did it. That's how it works with courage. That's how it works with courage. So my challenge to you is to get curious about what it is that scares you. Challenge yourself to do it. But get curious about how you fluff your own ego by telling yourself you're courageous because you're comparing yourself to another, when that's not real courage for you. And thirdly, get curious about how you judge other people for being fearful or lacking courage with something that you find easy, and you judge them against it. So again, Dov Baron, Full Monty Leadership, reminding you that courage is entirely subjective. What's easy for you may be very hard for somebody else. What's easy for somebody else may be very hard for you. Don't let the fear live in your head. Don't let it live rent-free inside of your coconut. Dov Baron, FullMontyLeadership.com. If you've been on here and you've enjoyed this and you think it's useful and valuable to others, please feel free to share it with others. Till next time, Dov Baron out. See you over at FullMontyLeadership.com. And of course, you can get on YouTube because we've got new videos coming out every Tuesday and Thursday right there on YouTube. And of course, you can go to my blog, which is on Full Monty Leadership, on more articles. You can find great articles on there and videos and all kinds of great stuff. Join me on YouTube, join me on Twitter, join me on LinkedIn, join me all over the place. Come on over, let's have a party. All right, take care. And give us a thumbs up and some hearts if this was useful to you. Good to see you, Peter. Thanks for joining me. Joy, thanks for coming on. Kevin, was this valuable to you? If it was, say hello. Give us a big, give us the thumbs up. Send some of those hearts and thumbs ups over. Thank you, guys. Gloria, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being with us. Robert, thank you, sir. Great to have you on here. Oh, Ed, didn't see you there. Thanks for joining us, Ed. Good to see you on. Tracy Jameson, good to see you. Faze, good to see you, sir. Lisa, thanks for joining us. Dana, all of you, good to have you on the show today. Hopefully you found it valuable, and please feel free to share it with everybody. Share the show with everybody you know if they're going to find it useful and valuable too. All right, until next time, Dov Baron out.